We're back on NFL Live and time now for our ESPYs moment presented by Capital One. And today here on the show, we are going to give out the ESPY for Best NFL Player. You see the nominees there. We're going to go through all of them and tell you a little bit more about him, but we're going to start with Myles Garrett. This makes sense, right? Defensive Player of the Year, had 23 sacks last season, the most by any player since that stat became official in 1982. The second nominee, Drake May. The 23-year-old was the MVP runner-up and led the Patriots on a surprise run to the Super Bowl, becoming the second youngest starting quarterback in Super Bowl history. Only Dan Marino was younger. And then how about Jackson Smith-Njigba, the Offensive Player of the Year, had a breakout season, leading the NFL with nearly 1,800 receiving yards and capping that off with a Super Bowl title. Last, but certainly not least, Matthew Stafford. At 37 years old, Stafford led the NFL in passing yards and touchdowns en route to winning MVP for the first time in his career. So, are we ready? Drum roll, please. That was like a one-handed drum roll. Didn't quite have the effect I wanted it to. The winner for the 2026 ESPY for Best NFL Player is Myles Garrett. That's right. For the first time in the history of the ESPYs, a defensive player takes home the award for the Best NFL Player. Swagoo, I know you are smiling, and we're going to see your smile on the screen in just a second. RC, can't wait to get your take on this as well. But Swag, you like this pick for the ESPYs? The Best NFL Player is Myles Garrett.
Do I like it? Do I like it? I love it. First of all, they finally giving defensive players some credit for being one of the best players. This is a huge acknowledgement for everybody that votes for this particular award during the year. And not to mention, the 5-time BMB award went to Myles Garrett, y'all. So I was on to something. And this is, look, I know that my counterpart went to LSU, and I apologize for this, Campbell. But listen, I got to show this. 5 sacks against the New England Patriots. And every time they dropped back the pass, they knew Myles Garrett was coming. I've seen people blocking with 3, 4, at times end up with 5, including the back, and he's still getting to the quarterback. This is why, honestly, Drake May performed so well during the year after this game, because he understood the assignment is that I don't have to see 95 again for the rest of the year. So Myles Garrett, congratulations. And y'all, arguably, like in reality, he could have been 7-time BMB of the week. I mean, 17-time BMB of the week. Every season of the year, he was putting on masterful performances. Shout out to Myles Garrett, man. Best player in the NFL finally goes to a defender. Let's go, RC.
You know what the craziest thing about this is, my friends? The team he played on was absolutely terrible. Right? Myles Garrett, think about that. Buns, bro. Cheeks. Myles Garrett showed up every single week. And I don't think people understand that. I get it that these players get paid a lot and they're getting to live out their passion. But to show up with that high level of performance, effort, execution, and production is absolutely unheard of. And Myles Garrett truly was the most dominant player in football last season, and the ESPYs got it right.
I do see the fit in Kansas City because it's a team that's got an established quarterback that can deal with a big personality, especially a guy that's used to getting the football who, maybe would have to have a different role. And, for a little context, guys in the 2 deep at wide receiver in Kansas City, Jimmy Holiday, Jalen Royals, Cyrus Allen. Those are the names in the 2 deep. Remember, this is a Kansas City team that did a lot of things on the defensive side of the ball, especially in the draft. And so they've essentially said we're going to rerun it with our starting receivers from a year ago. Who knows what's going to happen with Rashee Rice, what his availability will end up being for the entirety of the season. I think that there's value in Stephon Diggs in some role, a veteran receiver in some role, a team that's good with a quarterback that can handle him. So that's why Kansas City makes more sense than a team with a young quarterback, that's just starved at wide receiver that thinks adding someone with his talent and experience is helpful. So, I think it needs to be a team like Kansas City.
All right, so we're throwing out all these teams, but Jeremy, what are you actually hearing about the interest on Diggs?
Yeah, Laura, I'm hearing he's going to have a market closer to training camp. I was told that at least 5 teams that need a wide receiver have been checking in. Now, they got to deal with some of the baggage and the headlines. They are what they are. But here's why Stephon Diggs, I'm told, is confident. He had 1,000-plus yards last year, really playing on a snap count of around 55% of the snaps coming off an ACL. He feels he's going to be better this time around. I'm looking to the DMV, Laura. That's where he's from. Commanders certainly need a receiver. I think they're looking for more of like a speed option at this point. We'll see. There are several veterans they could look at. I don't think it's going to be Brandon Ayuk at this stage. Right. And the Baltimore Ravens, they have really made a living at times signing retread receivers, veterans who are accomplished, who are in their 30s, who can come in and help.
Yeah. Tim, anything surprise you about those 3 through 5 spots?
I think Joe Burrow is way too high.
Oh, wow.
He's been in the league 6 years. He's started every game of the regular season just 3 times. That's half. So, to think that he's in this rarefied air inside the top, 5 with guys that, consistently play at an MVP level, that are always, seemingly available, that's really surprising to me. And just for a little context, Jared Goff is all the way at 9. Over the last 4 years, Jared Goff is averaging over 4,500 yards, passing and over 30 touchdowns on the season. Burrow has thrown for over 4,500 yards in a season just twice. He's thrown over 30 touchdowns just 3 times. So I do think like there's this element of, look, when Burrow's on, he's on. He has the comment of, look, the window is my entire career. And he's probably right about that. But you have to get to the point where you're available. And listen, Matthew Stafford would probably had an element start to his career like this in Detroit. But to me, I don't think you can have him inside the top 5 when it's a 50-50 proposition whether or not he's going to start every game for you that season.
So I texted Aaron Donald after the Myles Garrett thing and asked him. And the response was like, very positive, but also let me see, if I still got, after 2 years out, he was kind of questioning himself. Then we see video of him at the Rams practice facility with some pads, I believe, getting a workout in. Is Aaron Donald playing alongside Myles Garrett for the Los Angeles Rams with the Super Bowl in LA with the returning MVP as quarterback on the other side?
Pat, that's exactly what it was. He told the team that he wanted to go there, work out, see how he felt, see how he reacted, see everything that went along with being back in pads on the football field and seeing how it made him feel. Now, I don't know what he told him about that after he went through those workouts at the facility, but I really think it was just a trial method to see how his whole body reacted, how his mind reacted to being back out there. And again, I don't know where he would be more appreciated, celebrated, wanted, respected than in that locker room with the Rams, with Myles Garrett, with a plan where they could play him 12, 15 plays a game.
What?
Use the spots that they need him most. Have him on a line with Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett get double and triple teamed. Aaron Donald would not get that type of attention again. I mean, it's an unbelievably attractive arrangement for him. It's just a question of whether he wants to go through and do it. My guess is, in the end, that he will. Just a guess.
Hell yeah.
Because obviously he's thinking hard about it. There are a lot of people that want him back there. He has to make the decision ultimately, but I mean, I would think it's got to be awfully enticing for him to come back and play this year when the Super Bowl will be in LA.
Well, Bill Barnwell putting in some work here during the offseason. Take a break, Bill. He wrote an article ranking the skill groups. That's wideouts, tight ends, and running backs of all of the 32 teams. And here's his top 5. And remember, this is based on each team having the same average quarterback. The Lions top Bill's list behind all-pro wideout Amon-Ra St. Brown, followed by Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, and the Rams. The Bengals, Falcons, and 49ers round out the top 5. So, Bill, there's so many talented teams in your top 5. Why did the Lions grab the top spot?
It's just that combo of great depth and then high-end talent. Of course, running back, Jahmyr Gibbs, you're not going to get many arguments. If not the best back in football, probably top 2, top 3. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 3rd in receiving yards in the NFL over the last 3 seasons. A legitimate number 1 wide receiver, so tough, so physical. Jamison Williams might be one of the 2 or 3 best number 2 receivers in all of football. Might be a number 1 for a fair amount of teams, given his speed and ability to create after the catch. And then Sam Laporta has had some injury issues, but really efficient, has been a threat in the red zone. A mismatch if you get him against the linebacker. Even their number 5 guy, Isaac Tesla, who didn't play a ton last year. Felt like every time we saw him play, he was making a leaping catch for a touchdown in the end zone. So just think the upside here, the floor is high, the ceiling is high. Just a really fun group of players for Jared Goff to throw to.
Yeah, I considered making a case for the Rams, and I think they're close. But ultimately, I found myself agreeing with Bill. I have the Lions at number 1, too, for all the reasons you outlined. And I would add, I think, just looking at the skilled players, the interchangeability of them, the fact that they can use so many of them to do different things and sometimes take on the same roles. Jahmyr Gibbs, I think, has proven himself to be quite good at running between the tackles, maybe more so than people expected, but he's also an exceptional receiver. He's so good, the ball in his hands in space. Sam Laporta is a tight end, but he can run option routes with the best of them. He can win downfield. He's got great hands. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown is a receiver, but he blocks like a dang tight end, right? So you have them on the field at the same time. You can just do so many different things with these players. And then to top it all off, Bill mentioned this too, they have some really good depth too. You know, for me, it's not just about the quarterback. It's about the entire team. Justin Jefferson should never have a season like the one we saw last year. He is one of the, if not the best receivers in football, and he was really limited by quarterback play. To put it in perspective, throwing to Justin Jefferson, J.J. McCarthy had an off-target rate of 28%. That is about twice what Sam Darnold's off-target rate was throwing to Jefferson, and the same with Kirk Cousins. It was mostly not his fault, and frankly, you could see him get frustrated as the season went on. So if Kyler Murray brings even average quarterback play, which I think he is capable of, whether or not that ceiling looks more like it did in 2020, has to do with a variety of factors, including his deep ball coming back. To me, that's a massive upgrade, and it's so important for this group of talented wide receivers to play with a competent quarterback.